So in Fury Road, even though Mad Max was the strong silent type, okay, he had a supporting cast around him that helped carry the movie where it didn't lack because of that, you know. And here, Furiosa is the same way. She's a strong and silent type, but it's still so bland, and everybody around her is bland. Take a drink, take a sip for every time I say Fury Road in this this fucking review. But I can't help it. It's such a great film. All right, y'all, the time has finally come. Furiosa, a Mad Max saga, drops this week, but thanks to my main man, Anthony Perez, I got to check it out a little early. So, y'all, this movie is, man, I kind of feel bad for this movie because Fury Road is such a tough act to follow. Not just the greatest Mad Max movie ever made, but one of the best action movies ever made. And this is coming from an old head I have a bias, right, with the old joints. I'm that guy that says, oh, you'll never top the classic. Oh, you'll never, I don't care how good you are, you're never going to top that, right? I said, man, after I watched Fury Road, I said, listen, I hate to admit it, but yeah, Fury Road is a better movie than The Road Warrior. I gotta call a spade a spade. So now we have Furiosa, which is in the Mad Max universe, but not technically a Mad Max movie because it has to do with the character of Furiosa, which is played by Charlize Theron, this time played by Anna Taylor-Joy in the lead. Okay, so right off rip, this movie was a mixed bag for me, and Perez felt the same way. I don't know exactly what he's going to say in his review, but he felt conflicted as well. He couldn't decide, damn, I like this movie, but then I didn't in a lot of ways, because at one point he even turned and looked at me and he was like, this hits nowhere near Fury Road. And I'm like, yeah, it kind of doesn't. But I ain't gonna lie, y'all, at first it had the potential to, that first 15, 20 minutes when Furiosa was a small little girl where it's showing how she got started, all that was great. When they brought in Chris Hemsworth, who is the star of the show, whenever he wasn't on screen, the movie did lag. He was the star. He was the shining spot of this movie. So when it dealt with that part of it, I'm like, yo, I'm loving this. Okay, so we got the typical Mad Max stuff here with the car chases, the motorcycles, the loudness, the madness, you know what I'm saying, the insanity of the wastelands. Chris Hemsworth's character, what was his name? I almost said dementias, Dementos or something like that. He was crazy, insane, perfect villain. And then after the 20-minute mark where she gets of age a little bit, that's where the movie just loses all its momentum. So the problem with this film is that it would gain momentum and then it would lose momentum. It would gain my interest and then it would lose my interest. And just when it's lose my interest, then it would get my interest back with a badass chase scene. And that chase scene's over with, then it'll lose momentum again. So it was like the pacing was just off here, where I wasn't engaged the whole time. Whereas with Fury Road, and you gotta excuse me if I keep comparing it to Fury Road here, but you can't help but do it because it's an extension of that film. Fury Road was a roller coaster ride from beginning to end. Once the movie put its pedal to the metal, all right, figuratively and literally, the movie just never let up. Even in the moments where it was, dialogue and there was slow moments, it still had a pace to it, it had an energy to it, where it still kept you engaged. And in here, there were quiet moments. There were moments of you just didn't care. Also, what separates Fury Road is that there were characters that you cared about. So here, besides Furiosa and dementia, I'm just gonna call him dementia. Fuck it, I can't. For some reason, I can't. My brain won't let me process the villain's name. But between those two, all the other characters here were pretty much, disposable. You didn't care about any of them. Some of them look cool.
We'll return after these messages.
This episode of Rashad G Reviews is brought to you by Moonshine Tequila, presented by Jethro Pettigrew. With the delectable combination of the finest moonshine and tequila, it's the only hybrid liquor to get the seal of excellence from Uncle Sam himself.
Is that moonshine tequila the only liquor approved by the U.S. government?
Now, I'm not saying you can't have a good time without moonshine tequila, might take chances.
Woo! Ooh, oh my gosh. Woo!
Moonshine to kill ya gives you. Brewed in Bokeh, Florida.
Now, back to our program.
And then there's a love story brought in here where I guess they're supposed to show Furiosa's, I guess, human side that, okay, at one point she did love somebody. Because the thing about The Wasteland with these Mad Max movies is all about loss, how these characters all had something, they lost something, and that's what drove them to the point of insanity where they just go mad, they go crazy. So I guess this love story that was kind of shoehorned in, was supposed to make us kind of sympathize with her character, but he was a Dollar General Mad Max. All right, he looked like Mad Max. He kind of acted like him, you know, had the whole shoulder pad thing and everything. I'm like, this nigga's like a Dollar Tree Mad Max, and I'm just not buying. I'm not buying the character. I'm not buying the relationship. I said, this sucks. So in Fury Road, even though Mad Max was the strong silent type, okay, he had a supporting cast around him that helped carry the movie where it didn't lack because of that, you know. And here, Furiosa is the same way. She's a strong and silent type, but it's still so bland, and everybody around her is bland. And unless Chris Hemsworth is on screen, you really don't care about what's going on with the actors. So I guess this is why Perez and I both were kind of conflicted here, because there is a good movie here. Like, technically, this film is very sound. It's got all the elements of what a Mad Max movie is supposed to be, from the car chases, the explosions. It's loud as hell. And, you know, it's adrenaline fueled, you know, the shots. There's certain shots and angles that George Miller uses. So he could still film an action scene out of this world, but it lacked, like I said, the characters, and just, you didn't really care about the story. And another thing that stuck out too that we discussed was the effects, right? So one of the selling points of Fury Road was the practical effects, right? How you look and you're like, how the hell did they do that? So now people are coming out in droves to see this movie like, yo, you got to see how there's no way that wasn't CG, you know what I'm saying? But he did use little digital touch-ups to, you know, to touch things up a little bit. But for the most part, it was all practical, and it felt practical. It felt organic. You could smell the oil. You could smell the metal, you know what I'm saying? You felt like you was in a garage watching this movie, to my Fury Road. But here, some of the you could see the green screen. You could see the CGI, and some of the CGI was kind of cartoonish, where there's even a scene where you see a character on a motorcycle riding, right, and they're on fire, and you see them in fast motion stop the bike, get all frantic, take the thing off, you know, throw it down, and okay, I'm okay now. And I'm like, that cartoon-ass fire, you know, kind of take you out the movie a little bit, you know what I mean? Take a sip for every time I say Fury Road in this fucking review. But I can't help it, it's such a great film. This film is measured to it, and it didn't quite measure up. So wrapping this up, y'all, this was a good time, good popcorn film, you know, good summer film to watch. A little long in the tooth because it is 2.5 hours, and I feel like you could have shaved about maybe 30 minutes off of it. This could have been easily 2 hours, maybe like $1.40. Just give us the meat and potatoes, and I think this would have been a much better film. But it was all right. It was cool. You know, it's cool. I can't shit on it all the way. Anna Taylor-Joy's Furiosa, she was okay. I mean, for what she was given, I guess she did her best. But Charlize Theron it was just something about her presence, her character that just really knocked it out of the park, man. And this time around, I'm like, you know, I rooted more for Chris Hemsworth than I did her, you know, because he was the best part of the movie. And I think most people would agree with that. So wrapping it up, y'all, I give Furiosa, I give this a B-. All right, I still give it a passing grade, but nowhere near the caliber of Fury Road. I'm trying not to say that again in this review. Have you guys seen Fury Road? I done said Fury Road so much that I forgot about the movie I was reviewing. Furiosa is what I'm in. Drops this Friday, so if you've seen it, don't spoil it, but let me know what you thought about it and all that good stuff. And that's it, and that's all. I'm out.